Here's blanket number 1. This is the baby blanket, and I will give you the measurements on it. See, it's just this is knitted with a crochet border and some tassels. Okay, here we go with blanket number 1. This measures, just a second, let me see. This measures 46 by 39. And then the tassels are 5-inch tassels. Now this is knitted, and then I have the crocheted border. So what I did was I used 1 stitch a day's mitered square instructions, but where they start out, I modified it, where they cast on 11 stitches, I only cast on 5. And then what you do is you add a stitch in the middle on the right side or the wrong side, whichever one you do. I'll have to show you how to do this particular pattern, because I do it a little bit different. You end up with a mitered square the way I do it, but you just, instead of starting with 11 stitches, I only start with 5. And then I modify it from there. But I'll have to show you that sometime. But that's what I based it on. And what I did was I had a bunch of just baby colored yarns that I just really didn't know what to do with. So I put them all together and made this baby blanket. Now I also had a ball of this right here. And this is, so I couldn't tell you what these yarns are, all these yarns. But this right here, what I did the edging, I crocheted the edging, this is Lion Brand Baby Soft, and it's 60% acrylic, 40% nylon, 4-ounce net weight, 368 yards. What size is the yarn? The color number is nursery print, but what's the size yarn? Let me see here. I believe it's a 3. It's a sport. Doesn't it say that somewhere? Well, baby yarn. Okay, okay, there it is right there. Sport weight. And it is very soft. Well, I only had 1 ball of it, and this is DK weight. This is DK weight baby yarn. So for crocheting the border, I used 2 strands of this together, and I did, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows or whatever, and then I used the leftover yarn. This is all I have left over from this blanket. I used the leftover yarns and some of this yarn to make some tassels on the side. The crochet hook I used is this one right here. This is a 8mm, which is, let me get my little gauge thing. Where's my little gauge thing? Just had it. I think that's oh, here we go. My little gauge thing, that is a L crochet hook to make this, and it's just a single crochet that just goes all the way around the blanket. The knitting needles I used are these right here, and they are a, just a second, let me check, I forgot. They are a size 13, which is a 9mm. They are a size 13, 9mm, and I made these. I have some old Susan Bates knitting needles that the cord is really terrible on it. So what I did is I used some weed whacker cord and made new cords for it. But this is what you do, is you don't have to measure it. You don't have to know how much yarn you've got. You don't have to know so many yards, whatever. What you do is you just start out down here. And like I said, I start out with 5. And then you just do the increase, and you end up with a square. Well, a photo of this will be included, so you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's my finished object number 1, my blanket number 1. I still have to wash it. The ends are all done, but I still have to wash it and then dry it and then, you know, redo the ends that pop out or whatever. So that's that one. Here's blanket number 2. This is just a lap throw. It is a rectangle granny square. And no tassels or anything, just plain crochet. And I will give you the measurements on it. There's Jimmy. Now here's blanket number 2, and this is a really pretty blanket. It measures 39 by 54, and it is crocheted. And again, it's a rectangle granny square, and I use this 8mm hook, crochet hook, 8mm crochet hook. And this is how this blanket came about. See how this has got sparkles in it? And then this is just plain. And this is all I have left of this yarn. But what happened was is my sister gave me a full ball and some scraps of this yarn right here. I love this yarn. I love this chunky. Wait, let me get it in the camera here. I love this chunky. And, of course, as you can see, somebody only paid $1.24 for it. But because there was not enough to do really anything with it, I thought, well, I'm going to have to go get some more yarn if I'm going to make anything. Well, I took it to Wally World, and I looked online and saw what was comparable to it. And what they said was comparable to it was this right here, which is Chunky Premier Yarns Serenity. Chunky. And so I bought, not knowing how much, I knew I was going to do a crochet because it had to be something simple. This black is just so hard to see, and I knew that if I knitted something, I would need a lot more yarn than what I needed. And with the crochet, I could have, crocheting a granny square, I could just use leftovers. So that's what I did. Here is the, I love this chunky, super soft metallics. That's what it's called. Okay. And it is a size, what is it? It was originally $4.99. Golly, that's too hard to read right now through the camera and trying to make it out. It's 96% acrylic. Oops. 96% acrylic. 4% metallic polyester. Uses size 6mm knitting needle or what's a 9SC? I have no idea. Oh well. But anyway, you know me and my hooks and my where's my... So this is the crochet hook I used. Now, I based the pattern off of, and this is all I've got left. I based the pattern off of Mikey Crochet Crowd's Rectangle Granny. And so that's what I started here. Isn't that pretty? And then, of course, here's the gray. Oh, let me see. What colors are these? Okay, I used wine. That would be this right here. And I used smoke, which would be this gray. So I used the black, and then I did a couple rows of the gray, and then the maroon, and then the gray. And if you can see right here, I snuck a row of black in there. Can you see that? Yeah. So I would use it up. And then here's the wine again, and then the smoke. And then, of course, I ended up with just crocheting the edge solid. After doing the granny square, I just crocheted the edge solid to get rid of the black yarn. And, of course, ending on a corner, this was all I had left. And like I said, okay, it measures 39 by 54. Okay, it is, again, this one is done. The ends have been pulled through. And all I have to do is wash it, dry it, and check for straggly ends again. But this is just a throw. This is, this will go over my chair, or maybe when I'm sitting, I don't watch TV, but maybe when I sit and I don't know, play on the computer, I can put this on my lap. So it's just a lap blanket, but oh, is it soft, y'all. So that's it for this blanket. And then I've got one other thing to show you. Okay, this is what I'm working on now. As you can see, I've got a bunch of baby yarn here. But I don't have really enough color, enough of one color to make a decent baby blanket. So what I decided to do is I am combining two colors of the baby yarn and making a rectangle granny square again, so it'll be a baby blanket. And I have a lot of this really fuzzy, this is called sugar cane. And this is yarn that's been in my stash. Well, as you can see right here, I paid 99 cents a yard for it. 99 cents a skein for it. And so, and I've got this pink, and I've got yellow, and I've got, now the yellow, oops, I just did something with the yellow that I'm using is Burnett Baby, and it's these big balls. And that's the purple, and that's the pink. This is all Burnett Baby. The yellow and the white. But these fuzzy ones I have are, this is, I believe it's by, is it by Lion Brand? There's, look, there's Jimmy telling me he wants something. This is a faux Angora, this sugar cane. And so I thought what I would do is, see, and I've got the pink and I've got the white. Let me see, I've just got the, yeah, I've just got the, oh, here's a yellow in that fuzzy stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine it all, 2 strands at a time, and I'm going to make this elongated, this rectangle granny square, and that's what I'm working on now, and it is crochet. My crochet hook I'm using is a size J, which is, I don't know what millimeter that is. But that's what I'm working on now. This is just mindless, what they call potato chip crochet. But I'm envisioning it being, it's such a pretty purple. It looks blue here on camera. I'm just getting rid of yarn. I'm kind of sort of on a yarn diet. I don't buy anything unless I need something like that other yarn. I needed it to finish a blanket. But this is just to get rid of all of this yarn, and I will show you that blanket when I get done. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Here I started with some of this fuzzy white and purple, and now I'm on just the plain yellow and purple, and then I'll move to another color willy-nilly. Who knows? So that's what I'm working on now. This is my last whip I'm going to show you. This is just garter stitch, adding a shawl, adding a stitch on one side so it grows from the one side. I believe that's going to be, it's not going to be a triangle, it's going to be a, I forgot what that's called. But anyway, I'm using 3 strands held together of this purple yarn, and it looks blue here on the camera. But this is cobweight weight yarn. And then every third, well, 1, 2, 3, so it's back and forth 3 garter stitch, I'm using this. Now this one here is a, I believe this is called the ladder yarn, and this is another cobweight yarn. There's no telling where I got it. I've got another ball over here. But I'm not feeling this whip. I am really not feeling this whip. As pretty as this is, I'm just not feeling it. Wait a second. My yarn needles are, what were they? I think they're, oops, let me see. They're 6.5 millimeter or 10.5. You know, that doesn't sound right. But that's what this Susan Bates thing says. But I'm not feeling it. I haven't worked on it in months. I wanted to use up this yarn. I think I'm going to find another way for it because, like I said, I haven't worked on it in months. I'm not feeling it. This will probably get frogged. But that's the last thing I wanted to show you. That's my last whip. So, thumbs up, thumbs down, comment. And thanks for watching. Shalom, shalom, everybody.